The beach. For many of us, it's the ultimate escape, a place where worries melt away with the tide and the only thing on your mind is whether to build a sandcastle or take a dip in the ocean. The beach is a symbol of freedom, fun, and relaxation, drawing millions of people every year to its sun-drenched shores. Sun, sand, and the crashing waves, the rhythmic sound of the surf, the warmth of the sun on your skin, and the soft grains of sand between your toes. These are the simple pleasures that make a day at the beach so magical. It's a place where families gather, friends laugh, and memories are made. It's the perfect place to relax, but even paradise has its perils. While most of us are content to soak up the sun or splash in the shallows, the beach can sometimes surprise us with its hidden dangers. From jellyfish stings to sunburns, there are plenty of reasons to stay alert, even in the most idyllic settings. We all know about rip currents and the occasional grumpy seagull, both of which can turn a fun day into a frantic one. Lifeguards keep a watchful eye, ready to spring into action at the first sign of trouble. And let's not forget the ever-present threat of losing your lunch to a bold, swooping seagull. But what about those whispers of something more terrifying? Stories that drift on the salty breeze passed from one sunbather to another, growing more dramatic with every retelling. These are the tales that make you glance nervously at the water's edge, wondering what might be lurking just out of sight. Rumors of creatures lurking below the surface, waiting to drag unsuspecting beachgoers into the depths. The idea of something unseen, something mysterious, moving beneath the waves or even under the sand itself, is enough to send a shiver down anyone's spine. It's the stuff of nightmares and blockbuster movies. One such legend speaks of the dreaded sand piranha, a toothy terror said to lie in wait beneath the sand ready to strike. According to the stories, these creatures are swift, silent, and nearly impossible to spot until it's too late. Some say they've seen the sand ripple as if something alive was moving just below the surface, while others claim to have heard chilling screams echoing across the dunes at night. The legend of the sand piranha has been around for decades, fueled by campfire tales and the vivid imaginations of beachgoers young and old. Descriptions vary. Some say they're the size of a small dog, others insist they're no bigger than a crab, but all agree on one thing: their bite is ferocious and their appetite is insatiable. But how much truth is there to these scary stories? Are they based on real encounters, or are they simply the product of overactive imaginations, and a desire to add a little excitement to a lazy afternoon? After all, the beach is a place where stories grow as quickly as sandcastles, and sometimes the line between fact and fiction gets a little blurry. Scientists and marine biologists have spent years studying the creatures that call the shoreline home. From tiny sand crabs to burrowing worms, the sand is teeming with life, but so far no one has found any evidence of a toothy predator lurking just beneath the surface. Still, the legend persists, capturing the imagination of anyone who's ever felt something brush against their foot in the shallows. Are sand piranhas real, or are they just another campfire tale to keep kids out of the water? Maybe it's a story invented by parents hoping to keep their little ones from wandering too far, or perhaps it's a warning passed down through generations, meant to remind us that nature still holds a few secrets. Over the years, newspapers and magazines have occasionally reported strange happenings on the beach: mysterious bites, unexplained splashes, and odd patterns in the sand. While most of these incidents have perfectly logical explanations, they add fuel to the fire, keeping the legend alive for another generation. Let's dive in and separate fact from fiction. We'll explore the origins of the sand piranha myth, examine the real creatures that live beneath the sand, and find out why these stories continue to capture our imagination. Is there any truth to the legend, or is it just another tall tale? Get ready, because we're about to debunk a myth. So grab your sunscreen, keep your eyes peeled, and join us as we uncover the truth behind one of the beach's most enduring mysteries. The sand piranha may be a creature of legend, but the real story is just as fascinating. Picture this. You're strolling along the shoreline, the warm sand squishing between your toes. Suddenly, the sand erupts. A set of razor-sharp teeth clamp down and you're dragged beneath the surface, never to be seen again. That's the image conjured by the legend of the sand piranha, a fearsome predator said to inhabit beaches around the world. These mythical beasts are often described as miniature versions of their Amazonian cousins, with insatiable appetites and a taste for unsuspecting tourists. The stories warn of their lightning-fast reflexes and the near impossibility of escaping their grip. But is there any truth to these terrifying tales? Unpacking the truth about sand piranhas. For years, rumors have swirled about a terrifying creature lurking just beneath the surface of your favorite beach, the so-called sand piranha. Maybe you've heard the whispers, a fish that waits in the shallows, ready to nip at unsuspecting toes, or a monster that drags swimmers under the waves. But how much of this is fact and how much is pure fiction? Today we're diving deep to separate the truth from the tall tales, and to finally put your mind at ease about what's really hiding in the sand. Here's the good news, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. You can stretch out on your towel, dip your toes in the water, and let the sun warm your face without a second thought about sand piranhas. Beaches are meant for fun, relaxation, and making memories with friends and family, not for worrying about imaginary creatures. So the next time you hear someone mention sand piranhas, you can smile, knowing the only thing you'll find in the sand are seashells, crabs, and maybe a lost flip-flop or two. Sand piranhas are about as real as unicorns and Bigfoot. That's right, these creatures belong in the world of fairy tales and campfire stories, not in the ocean. Just like you won't find a unicorn galloping down the beach or Bigfoot building a sandcastle, you won't find sand piranhas lurking in the surf. It's a fun idea for a story, but it has no basis in reality. That's right, they're completely made up. The idea of sand piranhas is nothing more than a playful myth, a story that's been passed around for laughs or maybe to spook someone who's new to the beach. Sometimes these stories get repeated so often that people start to wonder if there's a grain of truth to them. But rest assured, there's no scientific evidence, no eyewitness accounts, and no reason to believe sand piranhas exist anywhere outside of our imaginations. Piranhas are a freshwater fish, and they stick to rivers and lakes, far, far away from the salty waves of the ocean. In fact, real piranhas are native to the rivers of South America, like the Amazon and the Orinoco. They thrive in warm, slow-moving freshwater, not in the salty, crashing surf of the world's beaches. If you ever want to see a real piranha, you'll need to visit a river, not the ocean. And even then, they're not the mindless monsters movies make them out to be, they simply can't survive in saltwater environments like beaches. The ocean is home to many fascinating creatures, but piranhas aren't one of them. Salt water is actually harmful to piranhas, and they wouldn't last long if they tried to make the beach their home. Instead, the animals you might spot at the beach are things like tiny fish, playful dolphins, or maybe a curious crab scuttling by. The idea of a freshwater fish like the piranha living in the ocean just doesn't add up. But if sand piranhas aren't real, where did this crazy story come from? Like many urban legends, the myth of the sand piranha probably started as a joke or a way to add a little excitement to a day at the beach. Maybe someone wanted to tease a friend, or maybe a parent wanted to keep kids from wandering too far into the water. Over time, the story grew, spreading from person to person, and picking up new details along the way. Like many myths, it likely started with a few exaggerated stories and a dash of fear. Humans are natural storytellers, and we love to invent creatures that explain the unknown or add a little thrill to our adventures. Sometimes a harmless fish brushing against your leg or a sudden splash in the water is all it takes to spark a wild story. Before you know it, a tiny fish becomes a ferocious sand piranha in someone's imagination. People love a good scary story, and it's easy to let your imagination run wild when you're on the edge of the unknown. The ocean is vast and mysterious, and sometimes our minds fill in the blanks with creatures that simply don't exist. But now you know the truth. Sand piranhas are nothing more than a beachside myth. So go ahead, enjoy the waves, the sand, and the sunshine, and leave the scary stories for the campfire. While sand piranhas are pure fiction, that doesn't mean beaches are completely danger-free. The ocean is, a vast and wild place, and there are a few real-life creatures you should be aware of. These guys might not be as scary as a sand piranha, but they can still put a damper on your beach day if you're not careful. So, while you can forget about those toothy terrors lurking beneath the sand, it's important to stay aware of your surroundings and treat the ocean with respect. Remember, we're visitors in their home. When you think of summer at the beach, you probably imagine sun, sand, and surf. But lurking just beneath those gentle waves is one of the most common, and honestly painful, beach hazards: the jellyfish. These fascinating yet formidable creatures can turn a relaxing day at the shore into a memorable one for all the wrong reasons. Every year, thousands of beachgoers around the world encounter jellyfish. And while most stings are minor, some can be quite serious. So how can you enjoy your time in the water while steering clear of these stinging surprises? Jellyfish are truly remarkable animals. These gelatinous creatures come in all shapes and sizes, from tiny, almost invisible species to massive, umbrella-shaped giants with tentacles that can stretch for meters. Some are beautifully colored, almost hypnotic to watch as they drift with the currents. But don't let their delicate appearance fool you. Many jellyfish are equipped with specialized cells called nematocysts, which deliver a sting as a defense mechanism or to capture prey. The tentacles are where the real danger lies. Some jellyfish pack a nasty sting that can cause anything from mild irritation to intense pain, and in rare cases, even life-threatening reactions. The infamous box jellyfish, for example, is considered one of the most venomous creatures in the ocean. But even the more common varieties can leave you with a burning, itching welt that lasts for hours or even days. The good news is that most jellyfish stings are harmless and cause just a bit of temporary discomfort. For many people, the sting feels like a sudden prick or a brush with stinging nettles, followed by redness and swelling. Usually the pain fades within a few hours, and there are no lasting effects. However, it's important to remember that everyone reacts differently, and some people may experience more severe symptoms, especially if they have allergies or sensitive skin, but others can be more serious. In rare cases, a jellyfish sting can trigger a severe allergic reaction, difficulty breathing, or even heart problems. That's why it's crucial to know what to do if you or someone you're with is stung, and to seek medical attention if symptoms seem severe or unusual. Quick action can make all the difference. So, what's the best way to avoid a jellyfish sting in the first place? The answer is simple. Be aware of your surroundings. Before you head into the water, take a moment to scan the shoreline for warning signs or flags. Many beaches post alerts if jellyfish have been spotted nearby. Lifeguards are also a great resource. Don't hesitate to ask them about current conditions. If you see jellyfish in the water, it's best to give them a wide berth. Even if they look harmless or are floating near the surface, their tentacles can extend much farther than you might think. Swim with caution, and if you spot a jellyfish, calmly move away, rather than splashing or panicking, which can attract more attention. And remember, even dead jellyfish can still sting, so don't touch them. The stinging cells in their tentacles can remain active for hours or even days after the jellyfish has died. If you see one washed up on the sand, keep your distance and make sure children and pets do the same. It's always better to be safe than sorry. If you do get stung, don't panic. Staying calm is the first and most important step. Panicking can make the pain feel worse and may even spread the venom more quickly. Instead, move out of the water to avoid further stings and sit down somewhere safe. Take a few deep breaths and assess the situation. Rinse the affected area with vinegar or seawater, never fresh water. Fresh water can actually cause the stinging cells to release more venom. If you have vinegar handy, pour it over the sting for at least 30 seconds to neutralize the toxins. If tentacles are still stuck to the skin, use tweezers or the edge of a credit card to gently remove them, but avoid rubbing the area. And most importantly, seek medical attention if the pain is severe, if you experience difficulty breathing, or if symptoms don't subside. With a little knowledge and caution, you can enjoy the ocean all summer long, without the sting. Crabs are another common sight on beaches around the world. These crustaceans are generally harmless, but they can give you a nasty pinch if you're not careful. Never try to pick up a crab or stick your fingers in their claws. It's also a good idea to be mindful of other beach-dwelling creatures such as sea urchins, stingrays, and even birds. Admire them from a distance and avoid disturbing their habitat.